How did one of the worst days in U.S. history help uncover massive fraud in Major League Baseball? Let me explain. Age fraud has long been an issue in baseball, and it jumped back into the spotlight recently with the story of Padres teenage prospect Cesar Altagracia. Now, for some context, MLB teams cannot actually sign international players until they are 16 years old. But for a long time, it's been well understood that teams will put quiet deals or verbal agreements in place with prospects much younger than 16, with very limited oversight from MLB. And those agreements often come with promises of paydays when they do reach 16, and the privilege of training in the club's local academy. The problem for the Padres in the case of Altagracia is that the 14-year-old wonder kid, who allegedly agreed to a deal of $4 million for the future, was actually 19 years old.
Not according to birth certificate.
So, to start, why would a prospect lie about his age? The answer lies in a great quote from Charlie Munger. Show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. And the incentive here is incredibly obvious. A promised $4 million payday on your 16th birthday is something that any kid would go for. But add to the fact that these international players are often in the Dominican Republic, a country where over 1 million people reportedly live off of less than $2 a day, and you have a situation ripe for issues. With that in mind, it all makes sense. If you're an MLB team, which prospect is more interesting to you? The 19-year-old prospect throwing 90 miles an hour, or the 14-year-old one that's touching maybe 85 miles an hour? That 14-year-old has star potential, and when you're already spending $200 to $300 million on annual payroll, a $4 million bet on a prospect like that is well worth the risk. And likewise, if you're the 19-year-old Altagracia lying about his age, if he can just make it to his quote-unquote 16th birthday, that $4 million payday is more than worth it, even if he never pans out as a player. So how does that tragic day in 2001 come into play here? Well, following those attacks, there was a massive uptick in immigration scrutiny, which meant that for foreign-born MLB players, the phony visas that many of them had been getting away with were no longer going to cut it. So when those guys showed up for their visa renewals at offseason, they now needed to produce real birth certificates, which led to over 100 active players being exposed as older than they had said they were. But for guys like Rafael Furcal and Bartolo Colon, who were part of this scandal in 2001, they had proven they could play, regardless of what their real age was. But the fact that 23 years later, we're still having this problem really makes me wonder why the MLB hasn't just done an international draft by now.